Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 11, Episode 3. This was another good episode, so without further ado, let's just jump right on into it, because you know what I always say, we don't have a minute to spare. So we start off the episode with the ladies minus Jackie at Margaret's lake house in Lake George. We see Teresa and Jennifer going for a run. Melissa and Margaret's creative director slash friend, they're in the kitchen making some breakfast. Melissa was making a good old meal, honey. She was making the eggs and the bacon, like she was really preparing a feast. And then we see Margaret on the balcony of her room, and she calls up her husband Joe, and she's just letting him know that they're having a nice time, but she feels really bad about Jackie not being there. And then she tells him how hyper-focused Teresa is about the analogy. And Joe makes a joke about how, you know how Teresa is. And then we see all the ladies come down to the kitchen for breakfast. Teresa and Jennifer get back from their run and they're like, oh, you cooked us some breakfast? Like, how sweet. So everybody is getting a plate, having a good time. And of course, the topic of Jackie not being there gets brought up. I was like, oh my gosh, like way to kill the mood, because you know how Teresa is. Teresa starts it off by saying that she's not calling Jackie, and Jackie actually owes her an apology. And then Teresa has the nerve to fix her lips to say that she actually did apologize to Jackie about the rumor. It's like Teresa is beyond delusional and she lives in her own world. And then you have Dolores in the background chiming in, talking about, yeah, I don't have the patience for Jackie and all her antics. Like, she needs to get over it. When it comes to Dolores, Dolores is somebody who is a yes man. She's not a friend, in my opinion. She is just somebody who is going to enable bad behavior, and she's going to tell a friend who's clearly in the wrong that they're right. And I don't have respect for that. And Dolores kisses the ground that Teresa walks on for some odd reason. I don't know if Dolores feels like because she's known Teresa for 20 years that she needs to put up with Teresa's crap, or is it because Teresa is the star of this franchise, and because her storyline is boring, she wants to make sure that she keeps in Teresa's good graces so that Teresa doesn't get her axed off of the show. I mean, Teresa doesn't really have that power anyway, because Andy Cohen makes all the hiring and firing decisions anyway. And I always looked at Dolores with a side eye when old girl was on, I think, seasons 8 and 9. Y'all remember Siggy? Siggy was so rude and so nasty to Margaret, and Dolores let her atrocious behavior slide, all in the name of friendship. So I've never really seen it for Dolores. When I see her, it's usually just great gowns, beautiful gowns, in the words of Aretha Franklin. Dolores does not bring that much to this show, and this can honestly be her last season. But let me just come off of that for right now, because we have a lot more of the episode to discuss. But yeah, Dolores really pissed me off badly, sticking up for Teresa and acting like Jackie's in the wrong, when Jackie's not in the wrong whatsoever. Melissa is like, girls, I'm over this topic. Like, it's like beating a dead horse. Teresa doesn't want to acknowledge where she went wrong. I don't want to hear y'all arguing about it. Jackie's my friend. Let's just all get ready for this boat ride. So the ladies all go upstairs to their rooms to get cute and ready for this boat ride. And when they come back down, Teresa's like, before we go, let's take a shot. And they're all kind of like, okay, girl, like Teresa seems like a whole different person since she's single now. And she pours them shots of tequila, and she is ready for them to get good and lit. They go on into the van, taking them to the boat ride, and while they're on their way there, Margaret brings up how all of their husbands are going to be getting together for a guys' night. And then they all joke around about how nobody can outdrink Joe Gorga. And then Jen is like, yeah, I mean, my husband loves your husband to Melissa, but he cannot hold his liquor against your husband. And they show the clip of last season when Bill got super drunk and they had to carry him back to the shore house. So the ladies arrive to the restaurant and you can see the boats that they're going to be getting on after lunch. So they sit down, start ordering their food, and Teresa's friend who was at Evan's party calls her, and then we know that Teresa's friend Michelle is also her realtor. So Teresa has her on speaker and she's just letting her know that they're going to be listing Teresa's house in a few days. Teresa's like, you know, I want to make sure that you sell my house at the amount that I'm asking for. Teresa goes on in her confessional about how it's emotional because this is the home that she raised all 4 of her daughters in with her ex-husband, Joe Giudice. I said, girl, that's the house that y'all begged, borrowed, and stole for to be in there. Just a mess. Honestly, if I were Teresa, I would have wanted to sell that house immediately. Like, that house would have nothing but bad memories. The fact that I did all this trickery to get in there, I would be like, you know what? New house me, please. Like, let's leave all these bad memories in the dust. So she gets off the phone with her friend Michelle, and then the conversation turns to their kids. Melissa brings up how she's like excited to be away from her kids for these 4 days because being around her kids 24/7 due to the quarantine has been torture. Then Melissa brings up her daughter Antonia just turning 15 years old and how Antonia has a little boyfriend. So they're all laughing and just joking about that. And Teresa's kind of like, you know what? I don't want to imagine my kids having boyfriends or any boys touching them. So Melissa tells a funny story about how Teresa's daughter Melania said something to the effect of, Tia, Melissa, you know, you should feel happy about Antonia's boyfriend because he doesn't even pressure her for sex. And at this age, everybody's doing it. So now all the ladies start giggling and getting all immature. And Melissa's like, I don't even have the sex talk with Antonia. I don't want to. She can Google it. She can read a book, talk to her friends. Like, I really don't even want to imagine her having sex and enjoying it. Now, I was getting really annoyed because I'm like, you are a grown woman. Why are you acting so squeamish about sex? And I don't understand how you have not had the sex talk with your child who is 15 years old. Like, I think that the best education starts from, you know, at home. I let you guys know in one of my recaps a few weeks ago that I grew up in a very open household. Like, we could talk about sex. It wasn't this shameful thing. I wasn't told, you know, just wait till you're married or you're going to go to hell. Like, I didn't hear that. I have a very healthy attitude towards sex. And I was really disappointed to see how Teresa and Melissa were acting about educating their daughters on sex. Like, really? Like, that's what we're doing? I'm getting off topic here, but I digress. So now the conversation pivots to their marriages, and Dolores says, I used to not want to go on girls' trips or go anywhere because I would worry about my man cheating on me. And then Melissa's like, yeah, I still feel that way now. So all the ladies are kind of shocked. And Jennifer was even like, if you have to worry about your husband going out, that's a problem. Like, who wants to live on pins and needles? And I was like, yeah, I totally agreed with Jennifer for once. So then Melissa says that Joe will get jealous of her when she goes out with her friends. And I was kind of like, if I'm somewhere with a sister-in-law who does not like me and is determined to have me out of the family and divorced from her brother, there is no way in hell that I would be openly expressing my doubts and frustrations in my marriage in front of her. The way that I would have taken that secret to the grave and I would have told Dolores or whoever off camera away from Teresa, like, I just didn't think that was a smart move on Melissa's part to do that. You have to be careful what you say. Like, everybody's not happy for you, okay? Everybody's not rooting for you. There are people where if they feel like your life is too good, your marriage is too good, everything just looks too good, they will seek to destroy it. And they will seek to throw darts of confusion and discord. So I just feel like if you are dealing with some issues in your marriage, keep that to yourself. Keep that between you and God. Get a therapist, but don't tell all your marital issues to your friends and people who really do not want to see your marriage succeed. Loose lips sink ships, just like my grandmother used to always say. And it is so true. And I also found it very humorous at how Teresa got so much glee and satisfaction telling that story about how she and her brother Joe were at the strip club and Melissa called asking where he was. So I was just kind of like, because I said, I know that Teresa was hoping that that would have been the end of their relationship. I said, I don't care what anybody says. Teresa is waiting for her brother to divorce Melissa, and it's very sad. So they're on the tiki boat, and they're already putting in their drink orders. And here's where it really got stupid for me. Dolores comes up with the bright idea for them to prank Joe Gorga by saying that Melissa was talking to another man. So Teresa is like, okay, got it. Let me call up my brother and tell him what happened. Let me tell you something. I am not a prank person. Don't prank me. Like, you want to piss me off? I promise you that is a surefire way to piss me off. I don't think pranks are funny. I really cringe when I see these pranks of like, pretend that you're cheating on your partner, or like, I don't think that's funny at all. That was really stupid and it could have gone all the way left. Like, you already know that Teresa does not like her brother being with Melissa. So why in your pea brain would you come up with, well, let's say that Melissa is cheating or talking to another man? Like, you couldn't think of anything else? So Teresa calls up Joe and she's like, hey Joe, I just want to let you know that last night we went out and the owner of the restaurant exchanged numbers with Melissa. He thought that she was really pretty. He was really feeling her. And they looked kind of flirty, but like I couldn't really make out what they were saying. So Joe was like, you know, I got the kids in the car. Like, so what are you trying to say? So Teresa goes on to say that they've been texting each other nonstop. And she just wants to give him the heads up because she doesn't want to meddle in their marriage. So now Joe is getting so angry that he starts speaking in Italian so that his kids don't understand like what's going on. When he started speaking Italian, I was like, Teresa, just say that this was a joke. Like, just end the stupid prank right now. Like, this is not funny at all. So anyhow, Teresa finally tells Joe that he's been punked, and he's like, oh, you are so corny. Margaret and them thought that that was just so amusing. Again, I don't think that's funny. I would never play with somebody like that. Don't ever play with me like that. Like, those jokes just are not funny. You don't know what could have happened. He could have accidentally crashed the car with the kids in there because he got so mad. Like, any number of things could have happened. Like, don't play with people's emotions and their heartstrings like that. When it comes to cheating, and don't do that. You know it's also not funny when people prank people with those fake scratch-offs that say that they won, and then on the back it's like 1-800 call your mama. Don't prank people like that. Like, that's really not funny. I have a story about that too one day, but another time, another time. So the ladies get off of the tiki boat and they are good and drunk. They're on their way back to the lake house and they are all passed out in the van, okay? And you know how it is when you've had a whole lot to drink, especially in the hot sun. Oh, your energy is depleted, all right? Like completely wiped out. They get back to the house and I mean, Melissa was just sloppy. All right, good and sloppy. Teresa's drunk and Teresa's like, okay, y'all, like, let's have some wine. And it was like, girl, y'all need some water. But you know how it is though. It's a girls' trip. Y'all are just drunk and being silly. So it's like, hey, we're already lit. Let's just get even more lit. So Melissa, in her little drunken stupor, she's pulling down Margaret's dress because she wants to see Margaret's new breasts. And Margaret's like, well, let's pull down your shirt and see yours. Margaret's a good sport about it. So then Margaret's like, girls, I am done, all right? So let's just have dinner in. Like, I'll order a whole bunch of takeout. We can do some sushi. How does that sound? They all agree that that sounds really good. So we see Melissa calling up her husband, and Joe was being silly. He was just like, you know, that little prank that y'all pulled on me, that wasn't cool. And then he says, I was about to tell our kids that their mom was a dirty whore. And so they're laughing. And then Joe goes on to ask about Jackie. And Melissa's like, yeah, you know, Jackie didn't come on the trip. And he suggests that Joe reach out to Evan about inviting him to the guys' night. And he's like, yeah, I did reach out to him, but he said that he was busy. So then we see Jennifer and Dolores talking. They're in Dolores's room, just having a good old time. And Jennifer brings up how she and Teresa's friend / realtor Michelle were talking at Evan's birthday party. So Dolores is like, okay, girl, like, do tell. Jennifer drops a bomb that Michelle told her that Joe Gorga owes her husband tens of thousands of dollars. So Jennifer is like, I don't know what to do. Should I tell Melissa what was said about her and her husband? Or should I just keep quiet? And then Dolores is like, well, you are in a sticky spot, but if it were me, I would like to know what was being said about my husband. So Dolores is like, girl, just tell her, but don't tell her tonight at dinner. Just let us have a good time and tell her later on, but definitely tell her. Jennifer is nervous about telling her because she's like, me and Melissa just got back cool again, like literally last night. So I'm worried that she's going to be upset with me when I relay this information. Jennifer also brings up in her confessional at how over the summer, the New York Post caught Joe Gorga lying about some kitchen renovations that he was allegedly doing, which he did not do. And I remember when that news broke, it was on the Wendy Williams show. It was all over Page 6. It was everywhere. And this is no shade, but I always got a very something kind of seedy about their business practices. Like, I always felt that he was in the same lane as Teresa's Joe. Like, not quite on the up and up. I definitely feel like he might have gotten them there with the money, but now since she's on the show, I feel like Melissa is financially carrying them on her back. Because you could say what you want, but The Real Housewives is the best paying reality television show, okay? They pay bank. And it is the hottest ticket in town after 14, 15 years later. Everybody and their mama wants to be a part of this cast because it will really change your entire life. We've seen people go from faking the funk to actually being rich now because of those Bravo checks. So I would not be surprised if his money is a little bit funny and she's the one who's carrying everything on her back and now he's resentful of it. And y'all know how I feel. I feel like the man needs to have more. Don't get me started on that because we will be here all day. But I digress. So in the next scene, we see all the men getting together at Joe Gorga's house for the guys' night. We have Margaret's husband, Joe. Bill comes, that's Jennifer's husband. And then we have Frank there. And I was like, Frank is Dolores' ex-husband. Shouldn't David be here at the guys' night? Frank gives me very fame hungry. And I get the impression that he's kind of using this friendship with Dolores as not only her storyline, but also so he can have some notoriety and fame for himself. And I feel like Jersey is the only franchise where they will actually give the husbands and ex-husbands their own scenes together. I'm like, we don't really need to see scenes of secondary characters on these shows. Like, we tune in for the ladies, not their kids, not their husbands or boyfriends or ex-husbands and ex-boyfriends, all right? So anyhow, all the guys get there. They start playing poker. Joe brings up the prank about Melissa cheating on him, and they're all laughing. And he's like, our marriage is stable, but I'm not going to hold you. Hearing about cheating of any sort will always kind of throw you for a loop. So then the topic of the rumor that Teresa spread about Jackie's husband gets brought up. Frank is like, I don't believe that Evan cheated. He seems like a good guy. Like, we've had guys' nights before, and, you know, ladies would be looking at his way, and he wouldn't pay them any mind. Like, I just don't believe that he's a cheater at all. And all the guys pretty much say that I don't believe that he is a cheater. And then Joe, Margaret's husband, says, all I'm going to say is Margaret talks really loudly in the house. Like, I have 8 or 9 women at any given time in my house because they all work for Margaret, and I've heard some things. So now Joe Gorga's like, maybe Margaret knows more than she's letting on. So I think that that's going to be maybe a point of contention later on in the season about Margaret kind of knowing some information. Again, I'm really praying and hoping that those rumors that Teresa is spreading around are not true. I would really hate to think that Jackie's husband is cheating on her. The other Joe, Margaret's husband, just says, all I'm going to say is I believe 99% that he's not cheating, because the other 1%, you just never know. You can never know for sure. And now we are back to the next scene with the ladies at the lake house. We see Melissa and Margaret go on out to the patio to call Jackie and see how she's doing. Jackie seems kind of sad on the other end, and they're just letting her know that they miss her a lot and that they've been trying to get on Teresa about her behavior. Jackie says that Evan is just outright disgusted by the whole thing. He's just irritated, and if Teresa wants to make it right at this point, she needs to call up Evan herself and apologize. So Melissa's like, Jackie, I hear what you're saying. I agree wholeheartedly, but the only way that's going to happen is if you apologize for the analogy. And Jackie's like, absolutely not. Like, over my dead body, like, it ain't happening. I said what I said, and I meant every single word. Like, I needed her to hear me and hear me clearly. And I completely get it, Jackie. I would not have apologized at all. Now, while they're on the phone with Jackie outside on the patio, the other ladies have already started eating dinner. So then Melissa and Margaret finally come back to the house and they sit down for dinner. Teresa, of course, has to go on and ask, where were they? So they're quiet, and then Melissa says, well, we were on the phone with Jackie. Now, girl, why did you have to say anything? I would have said, oh, girl, we were just talking on the patio, but we're back. Like, I would not have said anything because you already know that dinner is about to go left. So now Teresa's aggravated, and she says, well, the reason why she's so upset is because she has an inkling that he's cheating on her. And then has the nerve to say that Jackie's a weak woman, and then compares Jackie's marriage to her messed up marriage to that fool that she was married to for almost 20 years, and says, when people were coming to me with cheating allegations about Joe cheating on me, I wasn't getting mad. I was just fine. They show the flashback of when Teresa flipped out on, I think, what was her name? Kim D or Kim G, when Kim was like, girl, your husband's cheating on you. Anytime somebody brought up the fact that Joe was cheating on her, she flipped out. Jacqueline said in, I think, season 3 that Joe was bending over his secretary. Did she not? And Teresa called her everything but a child of God. I said, girl, the fact that you have sudden amnesia and you're a bold-faced liar, you really need to stop. And the only reason why Teresa's being forthright about him cheating is because she doesn't want to pay him alimony, because now he doesn't have any money. She's the one who has the money. She's not slick at all. I really can't stand Teresa. I really cannot stand Teresa. I mean, I will be so happy when she's no longer on the show anymore. I really will. I mean, I'm just so sick and tired of her attitude. I really hate how she can do whatever she wants, but nobody can give it right back to her. The way I would be giving her the same exact energy. Like, I'm not sitting up here playing with you. I'm not doing that. So now Teresa starts raising her voice saying that, well, if she wants an apology, then she needs to apologize to my daughter. Melissa's like, girl, I hate to inform you, but that ain't ever happening. She's not apologizing for anything. So now Teresa gets up, starts cursing them all out. She's letting them know that they're assholes and they're all ganging up on her. I said, here we go. Another display of these temper tantrums like she's 5 years old. So now dinner is ruined. They're all annoyed like, girl, nobody is attacking you. They go up in her room, and even Dolores is upset. She's like, Teresa, I didn't even do anything to you, so why are you yelling and cursing at me? So Teresa's just stammering like the fool that she is. So now they all go downstairs and they decide they're going to have some wine and some s'mores outside by the fire pit. Nothing's resolved, but they're laughing and trying to make the best of it. And then I guess they heard like an animal or a raccoon, whatever, was just rustling in the bushes, and they freak out and they all start running. I think Melissa threw her glass, so now there's a shattered wine glass, and they are all screaming and running back into the house, and that's the end of the episode. So anyways, y'all, thank you guys for watching my recap, and y'all already know what to do. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.